Well, Coach Da Prato, fourth week spring practice. Y'all prepping up for the spring game. Just overall thoughts about how the team's looking since day one.
Yeah, great progress. I think that's kind of the goal, right? I mean, obviously you gotta get better each and every day, but very pleased with the progress we've made from where we started, right? And there's always a starting point, and you can sit and go all the way back and say, oh, well, it's year 2, and there's going to be some similar. There is, and those things have been great. Obviously, the established culture. The things that Coach Kinney wants to see from us as coaches and players each and every day has already been established, and we know that. Now, there's new guys that got added in, but those players that have been here, every drill that I run in particular, I said, hey, give me a guy that's done this before so the other guys can watch. My expectation of that drill from those guys that have done it, and I showed you a game clip in the meeting of you doing it and doing it correctly, it better be right. And you better perfect it and better get even better. And then the other guys need to jump in and learn from it and do the same thing. So obviously those things help. But the progression from where we started practice 1 to practice number 13 today has been good. At the end of the day, it's never good enough because we're not playing a game yet. So there's always room to grow, and we're going to continue to do that.
Feels like a big message for this spring practice has been consistency. You heard Coach Kinney talk about Coach Leftwich, even Coach Morse. How important is it that y'all are staying consistent during spring practice, especially with it being year 2?
Always. I mean, it has to be there. You got to be able to grow on the things we did well and get even better at those. But the consistency piece of the day one fundamentals. I mean, throwing, catching, blocking, tackling. That it has to be consistent. We can't have unbelievable plays and then have unbelievable the other way plays. You'd rather be right here. Now we're going to make those on both sides of the ball. We're all 3 sides of the ball. We're very aggressive in what we do offensively, defensively, and honestly on special teams. We're very aggressive. But the key is going to be we need to be more consistent in all 3 of them. If you do peak with the great plays, that's good. Let's just make sure that the consistency stays there and not peaking with you or not falling in the valley on the others.
Looking at special teams, I know you have to replace Seamus at punter, but just overall thoughts about how kickers, punters, long snappers, how they've been doing this spring.
It's been good, yeah. So we've got kind of a open competition going on at punter, which has been good. We've got 2 guys that have been here, in David Nunez and Darius Green. They were both a part of the program in the fall. David's been here for multiple years now, but had both those guys in the fall. And then we added Brendan Frankie, who transferred in, who kicks and punts, and he's been competing at the punting spot as well. And then returning, obviously Mason Shipley coming back. Did what he was supposed to do last year. That's the past. So consistency. Need him to continue with his consistency, which was a good thing. And then John Oehrlein as a snapper is returning as well. And then also Matthew Valesco who was with us in the fall. All those guys are back, and all of them are each getting better. But again, it's never good enough, and we got to keep working. But very pleased with where those guys are, and then we'll be adding some more guys to the roster as we get going here into the summer.
With a season that Mason Shipley had, last season, what are something that you just continuing to work with him during the spring practice?
Consistency. You already hit it, right? I think the best quality about Mason is he's right here. And we tease him in our room all the time because everything's filmed, right? And we tease him all the time about how all of a sudden you do something really well and you succeed, and it's kind of like, all right, good, high five and move on. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's never too high, never too low for someone like himself. You can take the same example, which he didn't experience last year on field goal, but you miss a kick, right? The thing I like about Mason so well is that next kick. It's on to the next one. That wasn't too big or that wasn't too low. He doesn't let it affect his next kick because he understands that it's just on to the next one. So obviously working with him, it's fine-tuning all the details and just continuing to be consistent and have the same results he did last year. That'd be great.
Coach, we talked with Coach Kinney earlier, about position battles right now, and certainly those will intensify in the fall, but there still certainly exist here in the spring as well. And for a lot of guys that want to go up the depth chart, no matter the position, receiver, defensive back, linebacker, how valuable then are the reps on special teams in order to get those opportunities for their natural position?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way of looking at it. I think one thing I tell guys all the time, there'll be guys that come in and say, "Hey, coach, I'm gonna work really hard. You watch. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna work really hard in your special teams drills today." And I'm like, that's awesome. I love that. But let's make sure you show up on the offense and defensive film as well. And full transparency on that is you can be really good on special teams. It's hard to get on the bus. It's hard to get on the plane if you're not on the offense and defensive roster. Obviously, those are the first ones I get to choose from. So encouraging our guys on that to obviously succeed on the film and offense and defense. There's more time. And I think I've expressed this to you guys before. I mean, special teams is 1/5 of the game. It's roughly 17 to 22% of the total plays that show up in a game. But where we teach it to our guys is it's over 50% of the total yards throughout the course of a game, right? In yards per play, offense, defense last year, we were at like 5.9 combined yards per play. On special teams, it was like 36.9. And that was pretty skewed based on the success we had on KOR and then obviously popping kicks up and trying to get balls on kickoff on our kickoff team. So 1/5 of the amount of plays compared to offense and defense. And then yardage-wise, in per play yardage, it's 6 times the amount of yardage. So let that sink in a little bit, right? 1/5 of the amount of plays, 6 times the impact. So as far as where that needs to show up, it needs to show up on offense and defense, right? When we throw on the offense and defensive film, you better be flying around, showing up on there. Then we're going to be able to get your impact on special teams. So I've been very pleased with our kids. I think one of the biggest thing is the buy-in, right, and understanding, as we saw in games, right? Learn from the past while we're living right now, while we plan for what we're going to do in the future. We saw on film when we do our part how the impact of special teams can dramatically change the outcome of a game. And that's our goal. I mean, you kind of brought it up. We want to be the most consistent team in the country, and we want to find a way to change the outcome of the game. That's our goal. We have 2 things that we try and do on special teams, and that's it.
Coach Kenny said earlier that the staff is still working on a format for Saturday's game. Certainly special teams will be a part of that. How much can we expect to see from special teams on Saturday?
I didn't listen to his previous interview, so I don't know exactly what he said, so I hope I don't step on his toes at all. There'll be a limited amount. We'll do a period at the beginning where we're still working a progression of install. That'll be a little period unless something changed. And then during the scrimmage, we'll do some PAT field goal kicks, and then you should see a few punts. But it'd be punt versus punt block. That'll be a little bit more competitive, but that would be the extent of what I would plan on seeing on Saturday.
Very curious your take on the NFL changing its rules on kickoffs now. They're adopting what the XFL, now UFL, has done with their kickoffs. Mm-hmm. What are your opinions on it, and could you see college football adopting that sometime down the road as well?
So 2-part question there. What are my opinions on it? I think it's going to give us more plays. In the NFL, I think it's going to give more returns. Obviously, at the NFL level, there's 32 kickers, and they're the 32 best in the country, so you're not seeing a lot of returns. I believe, and you guys would know about the Super Bowl didn't have a single kick return. So you're going to see more returns. I love returns. That's great. So that part of it I enjoy. As far as it to us, what are my general thoughts on it? I think we're pretty good at kickoff return. I think we have 2 of the best returners in the country. We had one that led the country in all-purpose yards, and then we had another one that set the school record for average kickoff return for the season. So I love the rules because I've got really good people to help be successful at that. So I like what we're doing. I'd love for it to stay the same. But in my experience, if the NFL implements it and it goes well and people remain safe, it'll eventually make its way to college. So at that point, this next season, I don't foresee that. We'll continue doing what we're doing, and hopefully we do it well. And then as they make changes, we'll adapt and find ways to be successful at that.
Coach Morris, Coach Nealy coming over, joining the staff, just what is, from your point of view, what is their impact on the team so far, especially even though we're still in spring practice?
Yeah, Coach Morris, I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for Coach Morris. So I worked for Coach Morris. Coach Morris hired me at Arkansas back in 2019. Coach Kenny and I weren't there together. We were kind of 2 ships passing in the night. But I would not be here today without him. The impact of having him around, the energy he brings, the approach he has, the impact he has on young people, coupled with Coach Kenny and the relationships he's able to form with our players, the confidence he's able to give our kids, unbelievable, awesome, incredible, adding someone like him with his experience to be able to help us. Coach Nealy, I got a special place with him. He's a former quarterback like myself. Can't have enough former quarterbacks in the room and around the players. He's been incredible, his approach, his mindset. Obviously, being the Bobcat that he is, getting a chance to come home. I mean, I tell him all the time, man, I'm proud to represent your great university. I didn't get to go to school here, but boy, I tell you what, man, I walk around like I sure did. I love this place and what we're able to represent and do for his school. So he's been great. And then Coach Peveto on the defensive side with just a plethora of knowledge and experience. And the one thing I would say about all three of those guys is those guys come in and they work. They show up and they put their head down no matter what their role is, what their responsibility is, what a title is, or where they've been in the past. They show up and they do their job to the best of their ability. They're a pleasure to be around. They have an incredible love and passion for Texas State, for the state of Texas. All of them have worked in the state of Texas, lived in the state of Texas, from the state, some of them from the state of Texas. So incredible additions to our staff and just a pleasure to be around on a daily basis.
It seems like Coach Morris has had a connection with almost all these coaches. With Coach Kenny, coaching him at Tulsa, then at SMU and Arkansas. Obviously, with you at Arkansas, then at South Florida.
He was at South Florida with me as well, yeah.
What does it mean to have a coach like that that's made a lot of connections, especially with him being as an offensive coordinator, at the Power 5 level, then even at high school as well, just on the staff?
Yeah, I mean, his experience is incredible. I mean, he's in multiple Texas high school Hall of Fames. I mean, he is Texas high school football. He is exactly a great representation of what I want to be and what coaches want to be each and every day. We can't go to a function or event without him, and everybody knows him. But I think what you see there is why Coach Kenny has been successful is relationships. You're constantly being evaluated, and Coach Kenny played under Coach Morris, and then Coach Morris, as soon as he had the opportunity, he hired Coach Kenny. So he went out there and grabbed him, and then obviously as soon as Coach Kenny had an opportunity to hire Coach Morris, he brings him back. And that impact of how you relate to the players and relate to each other, I think is incredible. I think Coach Bryant's been with Coach Morris 5 different stops. So a lot of this is relationships, right? But it's not about who you know, it's who you know well and who can add value to your program. And obviously, Coach Morris, Coach Nealy, Coach Peveto have been some places. They've been around great people. They've recruited their tails off, brought in great players, and formed a great relationship to be able to have these opportunities. And honestly, Texas State's benefiting from having them around.
With so many – when you get a bunch of transfers and a bunch of high schools, what is the balance of trying to, obviously wanting to get those good transfers, but also establishing those high school relationships? Yeah,
hiring people like that is key. Us getting on the phone, talking to them, being around them, going to a function like we did the other night, forming those relationships. We have a great balance of both, and I think that's critical. But it's about the relationships. It's about the relationships that you form with those coaches, and I'd say to our players, every interaction you're either adding value or taking it away. And we're not going to be able to take every high school coach's kids every single year. This is not the way it's going to work. There's not enough spots. It might be a local kid or it might be a kid in East Texas. It doesn't matter. They might have a great player. We're not looking for that position. That's tough. So forming those relationships, being upfront, being transparent, being honest, talking to them, expressing interest, saying, hey, I'm not sure how this is going to work, I think is key. You form those relationships, you build them, and then you kind of go from there. But I think Coach Kenny does an incredible job of not only balancing that with our current roster, because once our kids get here, it doesn't matter if you're a transfer, it doesn't matter if you're a 6th, 7th year guy, doesn't matter if you're a high school freshman. That we got 2 of them that should be in high school. One of them went to prom last week. They should still be in high school. But it doesn't matter where you come in, show them, do your job, and you'll get rewarded. And I think Coach Kenny does an incredible job with that amongst our team once they're here. But I think he's also elite at evaluating that and evaluating our roster, our coaching staff, and bringing in the best fit for us that fits our needs and is a good fit with the players. I think that's something that he does that he's absolutely elite at.
With the spring game coming up this Saturday, just what do you want to see from this team as you play on Saturday?
I want to see us come out healthy and come out healthy. I want to make sure we get away. You get out of this healthy. I think that's the key. Making sure that we are able to walk away healthy. But I want to see our kids, and they will. They're going to play with great energy, great passion, and I want to see them be consistent. I want to see them grow from day one, fine tune the details, be disciplined in the things we're asking them to do, but get out of here healthy.
And for a lot of people, summer workouts is just so critical at this point as y'all prepare for fall. What do you want to focus on as y'all head into summer?
So I think once we wrap up spring practice, evaluate the film, talk with the guys, go through that, then they'll have their largest break of the calendar year. Right, so as we play in conference championships and bowl games and do all those things, that window gets smaller to come back in January. So our May break is actually going to be their longest of the year. So for them, it's a good time to get away, get back with their family, enjoy some time away because they got to clear their mind. But once they come back for summer workouts, it's go time. We have basically 9 weeks to get 8 weeks of prep in, and then the season starts, and we're here, and it'll be here before we know it. So I do think it's important for the players to get away and kind of get that, change of pace, change of place, change of perspective to get away so when they come back, they're ready to roll. And then it kind of just transitions through those times. So they'll come back ready to go, and then it's progressing in the weight room. Right, we're not out kicking, punting, snapping, throwing, catching, tackling all the time. It's strictly in the weight room, getting bigger, faster, stronger, and then those specific things for each position.
We're seeing a lot of these players, with their NIL deals. It's a lot with these local businesses. And when we saw Jordan with AJ's ish with Angry Joe's, just what does it mean to have so many players that they're supporting these local businesses with their NIL deals?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. All right, it's the new direction of college football. I think the biggest thing is that it's great. It's great for the businesses and it's great for the players. And we need everybody's support to be able to help us with that. From all the functions and things and the kids that get out and get involved in that, I think it's critical. And that is the new era of college football. That is college athletics. Sorry, that's all sports. That is the new direction that we're going. So for our young men to be able to help out local businesses, especially in this town, in this community of San Marcos and the surrounding areas, to be able to add value for them, I think is great. And then obviously what that does for our young men being able to add values, incredible. And I think everyone can help. I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody can help with being a part of something, having a great experience, and word of mouth can help get others involved. So I think we can all add value in those areas, and I think our kids and that experience right now in our community, I live here, in our community, is important, and I'm very excited about it. Appreciate y'all. Thank you guys.